Hello, Pepsi. My name is Dan Lynch, and I'm the Outreach and Missions Pastor here at Pepsi. You know, this last year has been challenging on so many levels, and we had so many incredible plans going into 2020. We had hopes of building homes for poverty-stricken families in Guatemala. We were planning on serving in orphanages, running VBS programs for children in Simpango. We planned to train pastors to plant churches in Ethiopia, and we planned to help serve in medical clinics for orphans and widows. We planned and we planned and we planned, but then, well, you know, everything changed. And so you might think, well, there must not have been much for us to do missionally at Pepsi this last year. But to be honest, that's not true at all. In fact, even though we may not have been able to be feet on the ground across the globe this last year, I would confidently say that this was by far the most powerful and productive year of missions that Pepsi has ever had. See, God worked in ways that reminded us that missions has very little to do with what we are able to offer and everything to do with God meeting the needs of His people. See, missions is about God demonstrating His love to the world and reaching people far from Him with His saving grace. And because of that truth, Pepsi and our leadership decided at the very beginning of the pandemic that we would continue to send monthly support to our over 25 missionary partners around the world, trusting that God will meet the needs of His people. But that's not all. Because of your faithful and financial support of the work of God, we were able to set aside over $75,000 to respond to the damaging effects that this pandemic caused all over the world. In Ethiopia, we partnered with the Petros Network to provide food for orphans and widows. The Petros team was able to distribute grain to family in Gojo. And not only were we able to provide food and medical supplies, but one of the local church planters, Pastor Martin, he lost his home due to a fire set by persecutors because of his work for the Lord. Pepsi was able to provide funds to help rebuild Pastor Martin's home. In the Dominican Republic, our missions partner, Nilson Polino, he identified 100 families in his ministry that were facing a significant struggle with providing food for their families. Pepsi was able to fund this project and was able to support and feed these 100 families during the pandemic. And in April, Bangladesh, another country where we support God's work, we learned that 40 to 50% of the country was projected to be unable to buy food, resulting in many children severely suffering from malnutrition and starvation, affecting their generation for many years to come. And Pepsi was blessed to be able to send them support to provide food and money and tuition for these children. In Bolivia, our very own Randy Davis, he presented Pepsi with an opportunity to help shoeshiners and their families during some extreme lockdowns across the country. And again, families were starving and in need of support to feed their children. And so Pepsi was able to support and feed 50 families. In Cambodia this last year, during the pandemic, they suffered one of the worst floods that they had ever seen. And our mission partner, Satan Lee, coordinated a relief opportunity to help send food to those affected by the devastation. And Pepsi was able to send a significant donation to help fund this project. And while Pastor Satan was focused on this relief effort, he also launched a radio ministry throughout Cambodia to share the good news of Jesus. Our mission team, we knew we had to support this project, and we were able to purchase over 400 radios and Bibles for people in Cambodia to listen to this radio ministry. You see, God is at work all around the world, but He was also able to touch the lives of those here in our own hometown as well. At the beginning of the school year, our amazing teachers, they were forced to adjust to figure out how to adopt this hybrid school schedule, juggling between online learning and in-person learning. We spoke to many principals and administrators who shared that the challenges that they were facing at the beginning of the school year were overwhelming and teachers were disheartened. And so Pepsi decided to bring a little joy and encouragement to these teachers. We partnered with Chick-fil-A and YFC Campus Life and provided and served breakfast for over 400 teachers and administrators in the Parker area. The principals were so grateful and said it was such a morale boost for their staff. Pepsi also stepped up this year to volunteer and serve for several service projects for food banks like the Parker Task Force and C-Corps. We filled hundreds of bags of food for families in need. We partnered with Operation Christmas Child at their processing center, helping to send shoeboxes full of Christmas presents to children around the world, bringing them hope and the joy of Jesus. Friends, as challenging as this year may have been, we have seen God at work through Pepsi and your generosity in ways like we have never seen before. People's lives were transformed through the power of Jesus, and the mission of God was advanced, and His kingdom grew powerfully here on earth. And if God can do such amazing works in the midst of a pandemic, well, I can't wait to see what God does through Pepsi this year and in the years to come. Join me in praying for another incredible year of fulfilling the mission of God.